Does what Andre Pallante has done recently sway the Cardinals in any way to act differently at the trade deadline? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. That way you're interacting with us, and hit that notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. You can also follow me on Twitter, X at JD Sports Radio, and follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking. Yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Happy 4th of July holiday to you all. Hope everyone had a great time. You enjoyed your time with the family, fireworks, beers, and of course, Cardinal baseball. On Thursday, the St. Louis Cardinals, despite all of their efforts, did win the ball game in extra innings over the Pittsburgh Pirates by the score of 3-2. Now, there were a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of mistakes made in this one by the Cardinals. Some strange decisions on the base paths by Wilson Contreras and Mason Wynn. Brendan Donovan forgetting that there was a guy on second to start the inning in the 10th inning. Things that would normally cost you a ball game, but the Cardinals somehow escape Pittsburgh with the win, and they also get the series victory. So, bravo. And that's something to be said about that the Cardinals would make as many mistakes as they did, play as poorly as they did. It wasn't like they were just garbage out there or something like that, but to still come away with a victory despite all of these mental mistakes that went on in Thursday's game. So, I don't know if that says something better about the Cardinals or something bad about the Pittsburgh Pirates, but hey, they get the series win. They take 2 out of 3, and that's really what you're shooting for when you go into a best-of-3 series against anybody. You're trying to come away with at least 2 of 3. If you get the sweep, hey, great. You get 2 of 3, though, especially against a division opponent, you'll take that every single time. And one of the main reasons that they did win on Thursday was because of the excellent start by Andre Pallante. Now, we know the bullpen has been taxed. You've heard me talk about it, ridiculous amounts. The team was apparently without Ryan Helsley again, Ryan Fernandez again on Thursday, and Jojo Romero. So, to get what you got from Andre Pallante was almost heaven sent for the Cardinals. It was a bummer they had to go to extra innings and still use Kittredge the way they had to use him, but this is not Andre Pallante's fault. He was awesome. Fires off 7 innings of 1-run ball, allows just 4 hits. One of those, the solo home run to Brian Reynolds. Strikes out 5 while walking just 1. It was a hell of an effort for Andre Pallante. And this is a guy that not that long ago was an afterthought for this team. Had seemingly lost his spot on the roster after he struggled in the bullpen in 2023. Didn't have much luck early on this year either from the bullpen. So it looked like he wasn't going to be anything that we were going to consider as a main piece of what the Cardinals were doing moving forward. But due to injuries to Steven Matz, the ineffectiveness of Matthew Liberatore as a starter, he ends up getting the crack at the rotation. And yeah, he certainly had his ups and downs since taking over that number 5 role. But the last couple of games been way more consistent and has given the Cardinals a shot to win each time he's been on the hill. First start was in Cincinnati, May 29th, gives you 6 shutout innings. Cardinals win that game. Ugly start in Houston, gives up 6 in 3 innings. Then it's 5 more shutout innings against Colorado. Cubs game at Wrigley, gets yanked after 3 1/3 innings. Pitch count was up a little bit, was up to 60. Had already given up 2 runs. One of them earned 5 hits, 4 Ks at the time. So they were like, all right, let's just move on from this right now. But then he has the rough outing, the Rick Wood game against the Giants on June 20th. Gives up 5 runs on 7 hits and 5 1/3. But his last 2 starts, he's been outstanding. Rips off 5 1/3 shutout innings against the Reds again. Pretty much owns them so far. Strikes out 5 in that one. And then on Thursday, you get the 1 run over 7 innings. 5 more punchies for Andre Pallante. Still has those wild splits against lefties and righties, and it's a bizarre one because he's a right-handed pitcher, but he's better against left-handers. Righties are hitting .337 against him this year, while lefties are just .202. And he's been way more effective as a starter than a reliever. Starter numbers 4-2, 3.34 ERA in 7 starts, 0-1, 6.30 ERA as a reliever. And because of his recent success, there's a trust growing between Andre Pallante and the team, and specifically manager Ali Marmol, who said after the game on Thursday, you could see it from pitch one. There's a certain presence to him that we didn't see before. We didn't see last year. Regardless of starting or in the pen, he looks like he belongs. He's carrying himself like he belongs, and it's been really good. So my question is, has what Andre Pallante done recently, does that alter the Cardinals' approach at the trade deadline in any way? I've been under the assumption that the team would focus on landing a veteran back of the rotation starter, and they still might, to fill the Steven Matz void, as well as bullpen help, which I think we're starting to realize the Cardinals could use at least one, maybe two more arms out there in the bullpen. I don't think this Giovanni Gallegos thing is gonna work out. I think they're gonna give him plenty of chances, but I'm sorry, he just doesn't have it anymore. And you hate to say it because he's been so good at the Cardinals over the years, but it is what it is. It's a business. It's not your friends, it's your business, or whatever the phrase is. But if Ali and the front office are comfortable with Pallante and he continues to pitch the way he has the last couple of games, you have him plus the return of Matz at some point. I don't know what you're going to get out of him. I would just assume that you're not getting anything out of Matz. And then if he does come back, great, added bonus. But because of that, do you now pivot from seeing that extra starter at the back of the rotation? Is that instead of seeing that as a need now, would it be more of a luxury to land somebody like that? And then you focus your trade deadline acquisitions towards just bullpen help or just another bat. I'm still of the mindset that despite the recent offensive struggles, the team isn't actively looking to acquire a bat. That's not like the main focus. If they can find one, cool. But they're not like trying to find a Luis Robert Jr. type of impact bat to bring into this lineup. I will continue to believe that the impending returns of Lars Nootbaar, Tommy Edman, guys we'll talk about later with the injury updates, and at some point, even Jordan Walker will be all the ammo that the front office thinks they need to go along with the guys that they already have. And I know that's probably disappointing to fans to hear that, but it is what it is. I mean, we like Nootbaar, right? We've seen what Tommy Edman can do for you, right? We saw what Jordan Walker can do for you last year in the second half of the season. Like, all three of those bats are probably better than what you're going to get out on the trade market anyway. Like, think about it for a second. If there was a Lars Nootbaar, a Jordan Walker, or a Tommy Edman available, what would you have to give up to get somebody like that when those guys are healthy, obviously? And, with Walker's, where he's actually hitting at the major league level and not down at the minor league. So that's just where my mind is on this stuff. So, but what are your guys' thoughts? Like, do you trust Andre Pallante after seeing the last couple of games? Do you need to see more? Are you still kind of on the fence with him? Should we focus on other areas of the team to improve instead of a veteran starter in the rotation? Let me know in your comments down below. And, we'll use that for a future show, and we'll have a little discussion about it, because I would love to get your thoughts, because I have a feeling we're all going to be all over the place when it comes to this, that we'll have a lot of different opinions. I do want to share a trade idea that I came across the other day, and it's not for pitching. It's actually for a bat instead, to help an offense that kind of in a funk over the last week. So we'll get into that next on Locked On Cardinals. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn about and see more of. And yeah, we're even talking about the rival cities. They were just in Pittsburgh, beautiful ballpark, obviously. They're going to be in Washington for the next 4. I've never been to that stadium, but that might be something. Obviously, Washington, D.C., kind of a cool place to visit, especially if you're a history nut. going to Wrigley Field to go see them take on the Cubs, to go see them in Milwaukee and a bunch of other places, to go see them in Kansas City against the Royals. These are things that you can take care of with Booking.com. Hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city. Booking.com has so many choices across the United States for your summer travel this MLB season. And, of course, got you covered when it comes to getting to those cities for the Little League tournaments that as a parent you're going to have to go to throughout the summer. So the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. We're talking about superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and a whole lot more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, you want the whole package. Of course, who doesn't? They've got you at eBay Motors. They got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for, and you can feel good about it because the eBay Guaranteed Fit is part of what they promise you. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and have to turn down the volume because of all the shouting? Then do what you're supposed to be doing by now, and that is by making the switch to Locked On Sports today. You can avoid all of that shouting. It's not necessary. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every single day to bring you the biggest stories. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. All part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Since the Reds series at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals offense has been, I want to say horrible, because it's not horrible. It's not like bottom of the league type of production, but in a little bit of a rut. I think we can agree with that. In the 7 games against the Reds and Pirates, they hit 240, OBP of just 309, 59 strikeouts. They left 54 men on base. Obviously the first game against Pittsburgh, you get the big knocks from Burley and Gorman, but it's just, it doesn't feel like there's a flow to it right now. It just seems like they're in a little bit of a rut, and that happens. Nolan Arenado obviously continues to have the worst season at the plate in his career. He is just, it's just bad, man. It's hard to watch Nolan Arenado take at bats right now. Paul Goldschmidt, he's been better, but the numbers are way down. The strikeouts continue to go up. We've talked about Nolan Gorman's streakiness, the loss of Walker, Edman, Nootbaar, Contreras' injury. Keeps getting hit by pitches. So, but he's, working his way back to get his timing to where it needs to be. Really the only consistent bats so far this season, shockingly, have been Mason Wynn, Alec Burleson, and Brendan Donovan. I mean, those are the 3 that you can almost always count on to do some sort of damage every single game. And maybe it's a changing of the guard that we're starting to see, which it happens. It happens with all teams. So if the Cardinals, looking at what they got right now, if they want to target some offense at the deadline, not a horrible idea, right? Now, who do you go get? And how would they fit into the lineup that doesn't seem to have a whole lot of wiggle room? That's kind of the question. I mean, even though Goldie and Arenado continue to struggle, Ollie doesn't move them way down. Like you saw Nato go down to the 6 hole for a little bit, and then boom, they're right back up. And, they're 3, 4, 5 at the lowest, 6. Sometimes they're up at 2. You know what I mean? Can you see Ollie benching any of them ever? Or any of the normal starters? But I saw this deal on Fanside and wanted to bring it up. It's from Kurt Bishop again, who covers the Cardinals for them. And, he's always coming up with different trade ideas and whatnot. So he brought another one up the other day, and I wanted to throw it out there to you guys. Here is what he had to say. Pitching is an obvious area where they could improve, but some seem to be forgetting that offense is their biggest weakness this year, as they're near the bottom of the league in runs scored. They could use a boost on the offensive side with players like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado not pulling their weight. And there might be a match made in heaven with the Tampa Bay Rays and Brandon Lowe. Now, Lowe can play first base and the outfield and can be used at third base if Goldschmidt and Arenado continue to struggle. The one issue is that the Cardinals have a ton of left-handed bats, and this would just be another one of those. But he could still boost the offense, and it's worth checking in with the Rays about his availability at the deadline. The 29-year-old is struggling with a .218 average, 6 home runs, and 23 RBIs, but he does have a .756 OPS. As for the Rays, they could get another pitching option with Sim Robertson. The 22-year-old is the number 13 prospect in the Cardinals system. At AAA Memphis, he has struggled, posting a 4.65 ERA in 13 appearances, 11 of which were starts. So far, Robertson's fastball has averaged around 91, 93 miles per hour. His breaking ball sits at around 82, 86 with tremendous sweep. He even has an upper 80s changeup. So these are the thoughts of Kurt Bishop. What do you guys think about a trade like that? Would that be something that interests you guys? Because I am somebody who, again, I still think pitching is going to be the target, but I'm not anti going after some offense. You know, the Rays just traded Aaron Savali to the Brewers on Wednesday. So that appears to me that they're listening and they're ready to sell on guys. I brought up the idea of going after a couple of their pitchers in Zach Eflin and a number of their different veteran relievers. I still feel that's the smarter deal for the Cardinals. Brandon Lowe is a good depth piece. I mean, he hit 39 dingers in 2021. Had 21 bombs last year. So the potential to be better than he has been in 2024 is there. And I think a lot of fans would rather have him on the roster than, say, Brandon Crawford. No offense to Brandon Crawford, but there's not a whole lot going on there. Do we need a shortstop, or would you rather have somebody who can play first, third, and outfield, right? Brandon obviously can play short and third. I'm thinking about the impact of the bat more than anything. And I think Cardinal fans would rather see Brandon Lowe at the plate for them than a Brandon Crawford. So could you pair an Eflin Lowe deal together for Robertson and, say, Dylan Carlson or some other combination of prospects outside of your top 10? As far as contract-wise, Brandon Lowe still got some control years here. He's got club options for $10.5 million next year, and then $11.5 million the year after that before hitting free agency in 2027. So you get 2 more years of control with the trade. The Rays will be shaving, and I think it was $18 million for Zach Eflin next year, and then $10.5 million of Lowe next year. So almost $30 million the Rays get to shave off their payroll. You bring that onto the Cardinals. Cardinals get the proven arm for the rotation to go along with guys that, you know, you're already under contract with Sonny Gray. You've already got Michaelis got 1 more year left, I believe. And then obviously you got your choices on what you want to do with Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. Obviously Gibson, somebody that you're probably going to bring back. I'm assuming Lynn, the way he's been, I feel like they probably bring him back at this point. But there you go. That would be like your 5 going into next year. So again, Lowe can play first, third, and outfield. So he offers you more versatility than, say, Crawford or Carpenter, who were your other 2 left-handed bench bats. I mean, it's not a horrible idea, is it? But let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I like it more with Eflin in the mix. I'm not trying to just swap somebody for Brandon Lowe at this point. But if you can find a mix where you get either Eflin or some bullpen help along with him, I mean, there's some mixing and matching that you can do there that would make sense for the Cardinals. I can see where you can find that. So let Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. Cardinals did name their minor league hitter and pitcher of the month for June, so I'll let you know who they are. Plus, we've got injury updates on Tommy Edman and Lars Nootbaar coming your way next on Locked On Cardinals. Here on Locked On Cardinals, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, playoffs. It's all year round. And you know what else is year round? Collection season. Yeah, just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS just stops coming after you for your unfiled taxes. The IRS never sleeps. They can garnish your wages. They can levy your bank accounts and even seize your property. So don't let the IRS target you. Why put yourself in that position? Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. I'm a guy that's got multiple jobs. A lot of us do these days. And if you have a complicated tax thing going on, that's where these guys can help you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Why not let them help you? Whether you owe taxes, whether you have complicated matters that require tax planning, or what if you hit that parlay? What if you're somebody who is into betting and you finally nail that parlay and now you're like, what do I got to do tax-wise for this? They can help you correctly file your taxes when stuff like that happens. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked on. And be sure to mention Locked On Cardinals at checkout and you'll receive a $250 discount off their services. Taking your family on their dream vacation this summer can be expensive, right? You're like, yep, I agree with you. Going to theme parks, like going to Six Flags this summer, it's expensive. Taking the whole family to a ball game, it's expensive. So make life easier by using Ibotta, where you get cash back on all of your purchases. Now, Ibotta, if you're not familiar, is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. You earn hundreds of items from groceries, beauty supplies. Ladies, come on now. You use a lot of beauty supplies. Guys, you have to do the shopping for the beauty supplies sometimes. Yeah, I get it. Toys for the kids. All of that is where you can earn cash back. The average Ibotta user actually earns $256 per year. That can cover the cost of a major portion of your day to the ballpark or that flight that you're eyeing up to go on vacation to. Maybe just a fancy dinner that you've been craving. Other apps will give you points that don't really amount to much. With Ibotta, you get cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, gift cards. All you have to do is add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, whether it's Schnucks, whether it's Deerberg's, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and a whole lot more. It's time you join the over 50 million users who use Ibotta to earn cash back every time they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. So go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play or App Store and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On plus our national shows, which cover every league. You can find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. All right, congratulations to Chase Davis and Quinn Matthews, Cardinals minor league players of the month for June. Left-handed throwing Matthews posted a 3-0 record with a 2.10 ERA and made 4 quality starts before he got promoted to Double-A Springfield, where he allowed 1 run over 5 and a third innings in his start there. He was also named to the NL All-Star Futures roster and cracked the top 100 of MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects in Major League Baseball. Just snuck in there at number 100, but Quinn Matthews has been good. Quinn Matthews has been good, and if you haven't watched him, seen highlights of him, you should. You should definitely go check him out, man. He looks special. He looks special. Former first-round pick Chase Davis led all Cardinal minor leaguers in June in OPS at 1.147, OBP at 464. He slugged .683, had 12 extra base hits, 23 RBIs, reached safely in 18 of 20 games that he played, and tallied an RBI in 13 of them, including a season-high 5 on June 28th. For the year, Davis, numbers aren't great. Was taken 21st overall last year. Remember, out of college, is batting .220, 7 home runs, 40 RBIs, 5 stolen bases for single-A Palm Beach. We're hoping that he starts to progress a little bit quicker here soon. The power was the big thing that he was supposed to be really good at coming out of college, and it hasn't quite manifested itself at the minor league level yet. Not the way that we thought it was going to, but 40 RBIs, you're going to take that. So we'll see. We'll see how he continues to progress. Speaking of progressing, some good news on Tommy Edman, who's trying to recover still from the wrist surgery, recently sprained the ankle too. Somebody got a voodoo doll on Tommy Edman somewhere. Anyway, he began what Ollie called the progression in Double-A Springfield on Thursday, took batting practice among other field work. He's also expected to face live BP on Friday, and if all goes well, then the Cardinals hope to send him on a rehab assignment, assuming he doesn't have any further setbacks. So fingers crossed, because Tommy Edman would be a big piece to this team. Infielder, outfielder, switch hitter, speed. I mean, he checks a lot of boxes that the Cardinals could use some help in, right? And that's why I continue to say that if he and Lars Nootbaar, who we'll talk about in a second, they come back, do you really need to go find another bat? Do you need to do that? Probably not. Lars Nootbaar, let's talk about him. He's been on the injured list since May 30th with an oblique strain that he suffered while checking a swing. Began a minor league assignment with Double-A Springfield on June 28th. July 3rd, he played all 9 innings as the DH with Springfield, went 0 for 3, 2 walks, and an RBI. Nootbaar feels that he will likely need 6 to 8 games to get his timing back at the plate and to work his body back into game shape. He's been limited to just 39 games with the Cardinals this season because of rib and oblique injuries. And that's the one thing about Lars is you love having him in the lineup. You know, he's a good ball player. Teammates love him. He can do a lot of good things for you, but can he stay on the field is what you really need from him. And he hasn't shown the ability to do that over the last 2 seasons. So if you were to go get a bat, like we're talking about the Brandon Lau trade, that would be kind of like an insurance policy for Lars if he goes down. If Jordan Walker doesn't ever get where he needs to be and doesn't come back up, you know, that would be why you would go after a bat like that. So couldn't hurt, right? More batters, the better. Ivan Herrera, another one at Memphis, working his way back. Remember, he had the back tightness on June 22nd. In all honesty, I don't know where there's a spot for Herrera on the major league roster right now. Like, bringing him back up to the ball club, I don't know if that's the right thing to do with the way things are working out between Wilson Contreras and Pedro Pages. Obviously, Pages has been phenomenal behind the plate. Had the big hit on Thursday in extra innings. You know, has shown a flair to come up with some big hits in the clutch so far this year. Overall, not a great hitter, right? We know that, but that's not why he's back there. The idea is that very good at calling games, very good rapport with the pitchers, throws a lot better than anybody else from behind the plate, which is something the Cardinals really struggle with. And you're still getting Contreras back into things. So I just don't know where a third catcher fits. But we'll see. You know, they went 3 catchers last year for a little bit, so we'll see. But I personally, I'm leaving Herrera down at Memphis and let him catch every day and try to improve on things. Why not? And get more at-bats because we know he can hit at the major league level. Let's keep him going. Cardinals in Washington for the next 4 games. So this will be a series that goes through Monday. Sonny Gray tonight against Patrick Corbin, who is 1-8 on the year with an ERA of 5.49. Opposing hitters are batting a league-high 301 against him. He's been one of the most hittable pitchers in baseball for quite a while now. So if the bats do not come to life on Friday night against Patrick Corbin, I don't know what to tell you. Like tonight, if there is a hey, let's get right and crush somebody type of game, this is it. This is it. I hope I see it tonight. I really do, because it'll really bum me out if these guys are only able to get like 7 hits and score 2 or 3 runs against Patrick Corbin. That is not going to make me happy. We'll see what happens tonight. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter, X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Appreciate each and every one of you who have done that already. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. And we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. Remember it all weekend long. Enjoy.